Hello, everyone. So I'm here with Ryan Moor. Ryan Moor is obviously the founder of Allmade and of Ryonet. Ryan, lately you've been doing the all masks, and it looks like it's been pretty crazy. Tell me what's going on.
Well, it is maskness for sure. It's been insanity. The mask market, I think, is. Started seeing thinking about it about almost 2 months ago, very beginning of March, when this was kind of coming over and rumors were starting to happen. And you're kind of seeing a lot more stuff come out of China, but nothing. We didn't do anything with it quick enough. We should have done something sooner, but we've been
Yeah.
fortunate enough. We were about a week ahead of everyone else, and a lot of people got samples, which really helped it get out and get recognized. So it's been fun. It's been insane. It's a whole new business learning curve for sure. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
sure, like the first time they went to go make T-shirts,
Yeah.
except this is masks, and everyone has to have, like, American Airlines just said you can't fly on American Airlines without wearing a mask. I just got an email, and you guys have to wear them in LA,
We
right?
have to wear them. I live in Orange County, but in LA proper you have to wear them. And yesterday I was out riding my bike without anything on, and a lady like scolded me, even though I was going around a residential area. She was mad I didn't have a mask on. So people are getting pretty serious.
Yeah, it's not like that up here yet, though. There are, like, all construction workers have to wear masks, and then, like, it depends on the sector, but you definitely,
Mm,
depending on what part of town you're in, if you go in a place with a mask, people could look at you funny if you're, like, in the country, or if
yeah.
you're in the city. If you go to a place without a mask, people are like, "Urgh, get that mask on right
Yeah.
now."
Yeah, the city people are definitely more intense. I think the first time I really noticed the masks was like almost 6, 7 weeks ago. I walked into a bank to finalize some paperwork, and there was this guy sitting there, full mask and gloves to like do his
Oh man,
banking. And that was back in like early March, and I was like, oh, this could be, he thinks this will be bad.
yeah, he's not robbing the bank,
Yeah.
though he probably could.
Yeah, I mean, now you want everyone to be masked when they walk in your store. How have you been handling PPP and loans and layoffs? What do you feel like is the best practice?
Well, I think there was a lot of comments happening, and we made some pretty harsh cutbacks immediately about a month
Mm-hmm.
and a half ago now, and it was really crappy. We laid off on about 25% of our team, and that was a really bad day. The
Yeah,
next
for
day,
sure.
we kicked off all the proactivity stuff, because it was like you got to go down low and then you can start rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
Our plan was to do halftime, or what's called a work share program, with the state for 50% of our team, and then all the management took pretty serious salary reductions. But the 50% reduction of time never happened. We were always able to maintain enough busyness, and then this week we're starting to bring people back, which
Oh,
is exciting.
already. And is
Yeah.
that largely the masks, or is that normal Ryonet revenues coming back to normal?
It's all across the board. I just actually ran the numbers from last month, and it was like I was blown away, because we were actually 6% over April 19.
Hmm.
And then, the Allmade had a record month, but not by a lot, because the mask, like, we were out of stock for 3/4 of the month. Like, literally, we turned our website off on April 2nd, when I started to come to LA to figure out the factories and what was happening, and it was just madness. And then
Mm.
we didn't turn it back on until April 26th or 25th. So we didn't have masks for almost all month, and we still did more, way more this year. So I don't know, we've been fortunate, because in a down economy, I think, what year did you start?
Uh, well, truly started was 2012, but we didn't have a building till 2014.
So you started at the very end of the last recession.
Mm-hmm.
um, and that we saw that a lot during the last recession, like so many people starting up, and the press that was just behind me, the Riley 150, which we've kind of made like our new silver press, that is selling like crazy, because a lot of people, either they're home board or they lost their job, and then they always wanted to do something, and they're starting up again. So it's like that whole other round of new excitement entering the industry the way it did in 2008, 2009.
I bought your silver press in like 2007, and it was in my dorm room.
That's awesome.
So
and
I mean,
in
go
a way,
ahead.
It's been kind of cool because there's so many of those stories that like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like bought a silver press during the last recession, and some of it is those people. I don't think anyone. A couple of people have threatened to go out of business and said we're going to go out of business, but they figured it out and they're not going out of business yet. So hopefully, but you're seeing maybe some of the generation before you like going out of business. So now through this, maybe you're now the old generation, and then there's this a whole new generation of printers.
Yeah,
we're the old guys now.
it's true. I mean, I remember Big Ten Graphics was this guy who had like 15 presses in LA, really successful. And then he ended up outsourcing his business to my old boss because his business died so severely in the last recession that he sold everything and then he kept his client list and became a middleman.
Yep.
I think that's definitely some people's future. I thought we were such a normal, stable, small business, and then when the revenue just disappeared, I was like, man, the overhead's insane.
Yeah.
Like it hadn't been worrying me for years, and then this hit, and I was like, oh, I'm not built for this.
Yeah. I don't know of many people that were. I have a lot of relationships in business in this industry specifically, and there's only one of our vendors that was actually built to withstand a several month dry up,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in a very fortunate position now too, where they're actually busier now than they were at the beginning of this thing. So it's definitely something that's going to change the way I do business. That's for sure. As far as having reserves, not quite putting all your bets on the table every single hand,
Right.
perhaps.
Yeah. The whole like aggressive entrepreneur, like doubling up your money thing isn't as attractive anymore.
Double down, double down, double down.
Yeah. I'm glad that we're not like hyper leveraged. I worry about people who were actually just starting. Have you been talking to people that were just starting with maybe they were just going automatic or maybe they were getting the building?
Yeah, some of them are. I think it's everyone's mentality. I think some of the customers that are newer, some of them are going out of business. I think on
Mm-hmm.
this list, we're tracking, especially with our rock customers, because we need to know, like in the future, what presses we have to go pick up.
Mm-hmm.
So we're tracking people that are saying, at least on social media, that we're hearing or they're calling us and saying we're going out of business. And it's about 50-50. Some are new, some are current businesses that are, somewhat, a little bit longer. But yeah, I also have some new businesses that are, I mean, literally like killing it. Like people have
Mm-hmm.
paid for an automatic press through doing the Here for Good campaign and selling masks. Like they're up like 700%, And
Mm-hmm.
so it, if those, if those people were able to pivot quicker because they're a smaller business, you actually can be much further ahead.
So what do you think is the future like a year out from now? I mean, I know that people have made a lot of money, but in my personal opinion of what's happening to our business is that the money I made this month, I shouldn't expect next month because the demand and the market saturation is going to get so crazy for like masks that at some point they go back to being what they should be, which is a commodity. And so I know I will sell them and I will print them, but I'm not expecting to have the same flood of orders that I had the last 30 days. So like a year out from now, what do you think business is going to look like? You think it'll be back to normal already, or you think we'll still kind of be in like a recession mood where people don't want to spend money on t-shirts?
I think there's three scenarios. So scenario number one is that things go back to normal and or better than normal. Because I mean, you went to Haiti. We went to Haiti, right?
Mm-hmm.
And remember what it was like when you got back from Haiti?
Yeah.
You were like, I'm never going to spend money again. I'm going to donate all this stuff. I'm going to and then, you're just like, you're shocked. You just went to a place that is like devastating and devastated and your life was majorly affected. But then in 2 weeks, you're like kind of back to normal,
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the American mentality, unfortunately, is in a lot of ways that's good, but in some ways that's bad because we have a short memory. I think, but I think that could be a very likely scenario where people come out of this and they go nuts, and the economy booms again. Or it could go the exact opposite and like go into the worst recession we've ever seen because the government's just been spending money and then they have to do something with interest or inflation and then that just crashes everything. And in
Mm-hmm.
that scenario, that could be a whole different ball game. Good for maybe the smaller startup, leaner business, bad for the bigger businesses with more overhead. And then there's also the scenarios of what happens if COVID comes back or another pandemic. And I think being positioned with U.S. manufacturing, we know, is much better than not having U.S. manufacturing. So
Yeah.
it's been amazing to see how much we rely, especially in our industry, on and overseas manufacturing. And how little we can actually do in the U.S.
Yeah, that's become really clear with all of this. Speaking of U.S. manufacturing, sort of, you were going to be launching Roq US, and then this kind of got in the way of that launch.
Roq Us is going really good comparatively. Like we're a startup business, and we got investment from our European partners, and so it was actually fortunate because I don't think Ryonet would have been able to carry that business through
Mm-hmm.
this. But we had, because Ryonet didn't have any of those cash reserves, and we had some cash reserves, so we were able to weather the first 6 weeks of this without selling any equipment. But last week they sold a lot of equipment, a lot of automation equipment in the dark room, because people are starting back up and getting business, but people don't want to come back to work because they're making too much money on unemployment, or they just want to be more efficient anyway and get better
Mm-hmm.
jobs. And then digital equipment has just been, slamming. So I think presses, all of the new Roq presses are compatible with digital. So some people are buying that press or choosing to upgrade that press now because they just got maybe a loan, or they can get a great interest rate, and then they're planning to add digital, or some people are already adding digital while they buy a different press. So those two things actually kicked on last week, and the team has been threatening to sell stuff for 6 weeks and they haven't been able to do it.
Yeah.
And so they finally came through, which is very, knock on wood, will hopefully continue. But trade shows are way different this year. That's our main form of marketing. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we've canceled or just partnering with any shows. We're not doing like any big shows ourselves.
Do you think they'll even be available like in the fall, like to go to the Vegas show, or do you think it won't even happen?
Vegas show is supposed to be the Printing United show is supposed to be in Atlanta this year.
Oh, okay.
So far, trade shows are on. Like Dallas Fort Worth is happening. Printing United is supposed to happen, but that could all change.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been doing all of our stuff with Hyundai, and all of those events, it seems like they're waiting till almost the last 30 days to cancel them, because we've just been waiting, knowing that these events aren't going to happen, but they just won't announce it until like 30 days out.
Yeah. Yep. That unfortunately, that was what happened. We might go to Atlantic City. Like, no, we're not going to go Atlantic City. And finally, like, oh no, we're not going to go Atlantic City. But
Yeah.
that happens. We'll see what happens in the fall.
Do you have any last words of advice for people that are on the smaller side of screen printing?
Well, I definitely the whole keeping super positive, putting positive information in your mind when you're getting down. Figure out what triggers flip that down and allow you to go much bigger, like just mentally. So I think that's a super important thing just to always remember, because I think we all like have going on a roller coaster during this, and a COVID coaster,
Yeah.
and that when you're down, you got to think of like things that can get you back up and not get stuck. Limiting, social media is actually fairly prevalent in this industry, as far as Facebook groups and things of that nature, but just be careful of them because there's so much negativity around them sometimes. And,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to get stuck in that rabbit hole. And so but then be creative. I think doing stuff for other people, the sampling, like it's always worked in our industry, you know, you have extra time, go burn 50 screens for all your local, you know, do just 1 or 2 shirts, use your extra shirts that you have around the shop, and like go give shirts out or masks out to people that might not have your product yet, and give them a free sample, and then take a picture with you with the free sample and post it on media. Like we're still printing, like, you know, check out this cool design we did for this business. And like, you'll pick up business. Like I was just at a print shop right across the street. They're going crazy with construction, all their construction companies, wrapping trucks. They're doing all constructions are back to work. They're doing masks. They're doing, you know, it's insane. So there's a lot of opportunity now, but you're not going to get it unless you're aggressive and have that positive mindset.
Well, thanks so much. I guess I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.
All right. Be safe. Press onward.